Hey guys, it's Penguin here, and welcome back to another gold making video. I hope everybody is enjoying 9.2, and in this video I'm going to be breaking down the first 5 weeks of patch with the different gold making landmarks that you should hopefully be doing, and just kind of giving you an overview of things you should be doing these first 5 weeks. So if you are somebody who doesn't exactly know what the time frame is for everything regarding unlocking legendaries and crafters marks and possible mat increases and stuff like that, hopefully this video will give you a little bit more insight on what exactly is happening every single week. But on screen now, you should see just a simple little diagram going from week 1 to 5, and we're going to get started with just the first week. So when watching this video, it will be Thursday if you're watching it the day it's uploaded, so technically week 1 has already started. However, if you're NA, this is the 3rd day of patch, and if you're EU, it is the 2nd day of patch. So if you haven't started doing these things, you can of course get started. So the most obvious one, of course, is starting your reputation grind. So this is the biggest one since you need reputation for legendaries as well as the crafters marks and potentially if you do inscription later on. And the biggest thing to note with the reputation is you should not skip the beginning scenario, the beginning chapters, if you are crafting on those ults. The reason for that is similar to Korthia in the 9.1 patch. You miss out on the rewards every time you skip those intro chapters, which ultimately you end up losing 2100 reputation. So if you guys haven't already, be sure that you actually quest through those 3 chapters again instead of missing out on those reputation. But if you guys want to know more about rep and exactly where to get it, the previous video that uploaded this week will give you all of that information. Moving on, you should start working on the flying achievement. So if you guys don't know, we are getting another one of those kind of traditional flying achievements during this patch, which means there's a ton of side objectives that you have to do in order to unlock flying. For example, a few of them is going around the world and collecting different lore pages. Or you have to kill, I believe it's 10 rares, and you have to loot certain treasures. So throughout this week and throughout all of these weeks, make sure you are kind of checking off some of those objectives so you can unlock it as soon as possible. And lastly, just learn whatever new recipes you can. Right now, I know the healing pot is out because that's not locked behind any reputation. Now, there's not that many out, but you can of course go get that healing potion and start crafting it if you'd like. Also, this is a little bit late, but we have seen kind of initial mat increase at the first day. A lot of things on my server kind of spiked up. Of course, not all servers had a spike, and a lot of the new materials are dropping due to not any demand yet, but we potentially saw that material price at the first day of patch. Moving on, we have week 2, which is a lot more exciting than week 1. First of all, the raid opens, so normal and heroic, the first 8 bosses will be available. So because of this, we will likely see a consumable increase. So people are going to need their potions, people are going to need their armor kits, their waystones, all of that, basically any traditional item that is used in raids and mythics. You are going to probably see an increase in demand. So if you haven't crafted up all of your items or haven't crafted all your food or something, definitely get started. Also, of course, continue that rep grind. If you've been doing all of your normal daily activities, then this week you should hit honored. Depending on how much rep and rares and everything that you're killing per day, there may be a few people who hit honored at the beginning of this week, 8 days after patch, and depending on, your average and everything, if you're just doing the bare minimum every single day, you should get it at the end of this week, about 11 days after the release of patch. So either way, week 2 is going to see an increase of consumables with the raid opening up. There's going to be a lot more player activity, and also we're going to finally get those crafters marks, so we're going to see probably a lot of competition in that. And if you are somebody who can possibly get, first on the Crafter's Marks recipes on your server, you can definitely make a killing. But week 2, pretty similar to week 1. Of course, throughout this whole time, I guess it's technically not on the schedule, but work on that flying achievement as always. Continue that rep grind, and of course, be on the lookout for some consumable sales. Moving on, we have week 3, which is probably the busiest of all of these weeks, and the biggest because everything kind of changes. We have Chapter 5 available in the story, which means that vestiges will be able to be learned. So rank 7s are going to be available to anybody, so we're going to see a lot of legendary sales. Also, this is the same week that the Mythic Raid will open, so if consumables did not start up really well on the second week, definitely this third week with World's First and everything, there's going to be a lot of demand, especially if you're on those higher servers like Illidan or Area 52 that has a lot of the big raiding guilds. But as we see all of these opening up, so now we have a ton of legendary demand, we also have the World's First and just Mythic in general, we may potentially see another mat increase. So, yes, throughout this time, I'm still selling rank 6s and people are still selling legendaries, but a lot of people may just be holding off for rank 7s. So, we're going to see that mat increase, and if the new materials did not get a little bit of a price increase in the second week with Crafter's Marks being able to be crafted, then this week is going to do it with the new vestiges in place. So definitely just keep an eye on material prices before then. You might be able to do a good flip if you can catch some things cheap, but if you are not a legendary seller, of course, you still have Crafter's Marks, the raid is open fully, so you have consumables, food, all of that. You can make a ton of gold, and yet again, if you can't sell legendaries, you have missives and all of those extra items that go along with it. Then, week 4 is a little bit of a slower week. There's nothing really exciting besides the fact that you are able to finally finish the flying achievement. So one of the little points that you have to do in the overall achievement is complete Chapter 6 of the story. So honestly, you can probably complete all the achievement requirements in a few days, but you just ultimately have to wait for Chapter 6 to be released, which is week 4. But this is really nice for farmers because, as many of you know probably, all of the nodes and everything are kind of on weird cliffs and pretty interesting to actually get to, so flying will make a big difference, so week 4 will be that. And of course, if you guys still haven't hit Honored, be sure to, keep on that grind. And also, if you're going for Revered or Exalted, be sure to continue that rep grind as well. But really, the only notable thing in week 4 is the flying. And of course, if you are somebody who is a human or you're doing a ton of the rare grindings and all of that, you might hit Revered this week as well. Then lastly, the kind of final week I want to talk about is week 5. Now the reason for this is people will have access to Chapter 7, which means the Unity Belt will be given to everybody or will have access for everybody. You just buy it from the vendor. So this is kind of when Legendary's metas might change, and also most people are going to hit Revered. So if you are somebody who has taken it a little bit slower, stuff like that, 29 days have passed, and you should be hitting a lot of Revered this week. So not only are we getting those Unity belts, we are also unlocking the Unity memory, which is super awesome because people will be crafting those second legendaries, and not only are they crafting second legendaries for their mains, the memory itself is bound on account. So this is kind of one of those big moments where now all of their alts can have second legendaries if they choose to have them. So once again, we'll probably see a spike in legendary demand, depending on how many spots change between a single legendary and multi-legendary. We're going to see a lot of rerolls, and of course, ultimately people buying up their rank 7 second legendary during this week. So potentially we might see a little bit of a mat increase. However, this is week 5 of the patch, so, things are probably going to be stabling out at this point, but of course, never say never, especially if you're on a server who has a lot of ability to manipulate prices, you might see some changes. But the 5th week is probably, the second biggest right behind the 3rd week, because we have that secondary LEGO meta change. Also, the last thing to note is once people start hitting Revered, and also if you are an Inscriptionist, you are hitting Revered this week most likely, so your Inscriptionist will be able to learn contracts. So if you are doing Reputation and you have Inscription, you'll be able to learn those contracts and probably sell them for a pretty good price. And if you do not do Inscription at all, then you can take this opportunity to buy those contracts and boost your rep even more, either on your alts who still need to hit Honored or catch up, or just use it on your main to hit Exalted as fast as possible. But yeah, guys, that is basically it for this video. This is definitely a shorter one. However, I wanted to just kind of get this video out there. You guys might have already seen this kind of table before, and that is because I posted it on my community page on my YouTube channel. So you guys can go there if you want to actually download this and keep it, or if you just need to refer back to it and you don't want to actually kind of skip through this video, feel free to use that as reference. It's the exact same thing. But as always, hopefully this gave you a little bit more knowledge, and as always, feel free to join the Discord for more 9.2 updates, and of course, just following the channel and any sort of gold making news. But thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, have a good day.